Eli walked through the glowing halls of the Galactic Bonding Center with careful steps. The building shimmered with strange light, and the walls seemed alive, moving slightly as if breathing. Hundreds of humans and aliens were already gathered, each group clustered around official coordinators. Everyone looked nervous, excited, or proud. Eli, however, felt only a quiet curiosity mixed with a deep, nervous anticipation. He was a simple man. He liked order, logic, and routines. He liked knowing what to expect, and today he hoped for the same. The human-alien pairing program had always fascinated him, but he had never imagined it would involve chaos. He just wanted a normal mate, someone calm, intelligent, and polite, like the humans and aliens pairing around him. Nothing too strange. Nothing too wild. The coordinators stepped onto the stage, their voices amplified by the crystal transmitters. "Welcome, citizens of the Galactic Alliance," one announced, her voice clear and warm. "Today, you will meet your assigned companions. Each pairing is designed to promote balance, trust, and cooperation across the galaxy. Please respect the process and the assignments you receive." Eli nodded along, smiling politely. He looked at the screens showing names and portraits. He saw his colleagues with their mates, some tiny and graceful, some tall and serene, some glowing with soft light. Each mate seemed calm, perfectly paired. Eli's heart thumped. Surely his mate would be just as normal. "Eli Carter," the coordinator called. Eli stepped forward, his shoes making a quiet sound on the polished floor. His stomach twisted. He scanned the crowd, expecting a calm, elegant alien to appear. Instead, she jumped onto the stage like a comet, landing in front of him with a loud thud. Eli blinked. The alien woman before him was wild. Her skin shimmered with streaks of gold and violet. Her hair floated slightly as if alive, and her eyes glowed a bright emerald green. She grinned, showing teeth sharper than any humans. Her movements were fast, sharp, unpredictable. She did not bow, did not smile politely. She simply stared at him, energy crackling around her in small sparks that made Eli take a careful step back. "You're mine now?" she said, her voice sharp but playful. "Finally, a human worth my time." Eli froze. Yes, I guess." His mind scrambled. Everyone else's mates were calm, courteous, predictable, and here she was, Zira, the wild alien woman from the farthest reaches of the untamed sector. Her planet was known for its storms, its dangerous creatures, and the survival love, the fittest culture of its people. Eli had read about them in galactic reports. He had imagined them, but never in person. "Never as his mate," the crowd murmured. Whispers spread quickly. Some humans laughed politely. Some looked confused. Some were openly shocked. The coordinators frowned, but made no move to intervene. This pairing was official. Eli was stuck. Zira bounced on the balls of her feet, spinning a small orb of light between her hands and tossing it in the air. "I like him," she said suddenly, pointing at Eli. "He looks calm. He'll be fun to challenge." She grinned wider. "I hope he can keep up." Eli blinked again, unsure whether he wanted to laugh or run. He had expected normal. He had expected safety. He had expected not this. The coordinator cleared her throat. "Pairing complete. You may now leave the stage with your companions and begin your journey together." Zira shot forward before Eli could react, grabbing his hand, firm, unrelenting, and surprisingly strong. "Come on, human. Don't drag your feet. Adventure awaits." Eli was pulled along like a leaf in a storm. His feet shuffled against the floor, trying to keep pace, but she was too fast. People turned to watch, some impressed, some horrified. Eli felt his face flush with embarrassment. Wait, please slow down." Zira laughed, a sound sharp and melodic, echoing through the hall. "Slow is boring. Life is fast, and it is fun. You will learn soon enough." Outside, the city buzzed with activity. Hovercars zoomed above. Alien creatures walked the streets, and lights from distant skyscrapers reflected off the metallic towers. Eli had always admired the galaxy from afar, but he had never experienced it this closely. Not like this. Not with a wild alien woman dragging him into the chaos. Eli tried to speak, to assert some control. "Zyra, I think we should." She interrupted, putting a finger to her lips dramatically. Then she sprinted toward a hovering vehicle, leaping onto it effortlessly. "Trust me, human. I know the way." Eli hesitated. He had never ridden a hoverbike before. He had barely touched any alien vehicle. But before he could protest, Zyra tossed him a small harness and gestured. "Hop on, slow one." He swallowed, stepped forward carefully, and clipped himself into the device. The moment the engines roared to life, his stomach flipped. The city blurred around them as Zyra zipped through traffic with unmatched skill. Other commuters gawked. Some tried to get out of her way. Eli's hands tightened on the controls, heart hammering. "You'll get used to it," Zyra shouted over the wind, her hair and streaks of glowing light streaming behind her. "Everything is faster, brighter, wilder than you think. Welcome to my world." Eli could only nod, too overwhelmed to argue. He felt like his life had flipped upside down in a single moment. He had imagined a normal mate, quiet dinners, calm conversations, and structured routines. Instead, he had zero, predictable, wild, alive. And utterly impossible to predict, they landed finally on a small platform near his new home. Eli's legs wobbled as he stepped off. Zyra bounded down gracefully, landing in a crouch like a predator preparing to pounce. She looked at him expectantly. "Come on," she said. "Home is waiting. And I have plans." Eli swallowed. "Plans? Yes," she said, eyes gleaming. "We will explore, learn, fight, laugh, survive, and maybe even have fun. You will see, human. You were not meant for normal." Eli blinked. For a moment he thought she might be joking, but the seriousness in her eyes told him she was not. That night, Eli sat in his new home, trying to process everything. Zyra had already rearranged half the furniture, opened windows, and somehow trained a small glowing creature to chase a bouncing orb she created. She moved with energy he had never imagined possible. She laughed loudly at things he didn't understand. She asked questions he had never thought about. And through it all, Eli realized something terrifying and exciting. He was responsible for her in a way. He had to understand her. He had to survive her. Maybe somehow he had to match her. He looked at Zyra as she curled up on the floor, humming softly, eyes closing but still alert. For all her wildness, there was a strange calm in her as well, a predator resting but never off guard. Eli felt a mix of fear and fascination. He did not know if he could handle this life, but he knew, somehow, that he wanted to try, because deep down, Eli realized something about humans. They adapt. They endure. They find strength in unexpected places. And maybe, just maybe, pairing with the wildest alien woman in the galaxy was not a curse, it was an opportunity. Zyra opened one eye, just enough to catch him staring. "Thinking, human?" she said softly. Eli hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, good," she said, closing her eye again. "You will need it. Tomorrow, our lessons begin." Eli shivered not from fear, but from anticipation. The world had just changed. His life would never be normal. But perhaps in that chaos, he would discover something greater than he had ever imagined. And so, Eli Carter, a quiet human who had only wanted a normal life, began his journey with Zyra, the wild, untamed alien woman who would challenge every rule he had ever known. The next morning, Eli woke to a strange sound, a soft humming mixed with metallic clicks and bursts of laughter. He opened his eyes to see Zyra standing on the ceiling, holding some kind of glowing device. "Good morning, slow human," she shouted cheerfully. "Time to start your training." Eli blinked. "Training, yes. To survive with me, you need speed, instincts, and bravery," Zyra said. Flipping upside down and landing lightly on the floor, "I can teach you. But first, breakfast." Eli hesitated. Breakfast. He was used to quiet mornings, a cup of tea, and maybe a small meal. Zyra, however, had already grabbed several strange ingredients from what passed for his kitchen. She tossed them into the air, and some of the floating orbs of light stirred them magically, combining them into a steaming dish that smelled. "Unusual," Eat Zyra said, pointing at the plate. "No complaints. You must start strong." Eli carefully tasted the food. It was surprisingly good, a mix of flavors he had never imagined. But as he chewed, Zyra clapped her hands and pointed toward the window. Outside, the city was alive with movement. Hover vehicles whizzed past, aliens of all shapes and sizes moved along the streets, and somewhere in the distance, a small explosion made him jump. "See?" Zyra said, eyes shining. "The world never waits for slow humans. You must move fast, think fast, react fast." Eli swallowed and nodded. He felt the truth in her words. The galaxy was bigger and stranger than he had imagined, and if he wanted to survive, if he wanted to live with Zyra, he would have to adapt. After breakfast, Zyra dragged him outside. She sprinted down the streets like a blur, weaving through pedestrians, sliding under hovering carts, and leaping over obstacles Eli had barely noticed. He tried to keep up, but his legs ached, and his heart pounded. "Focus, human," Zyra shouted. "Use your eyes, use your mind. Don't just run." Eli realized she was right. He had always relied on planning and caution, but now he needed instincts. He began to notice small details, a weak rail that could support him, a low ledge he could jump onto, a moving cart he could slide under. With each step, he grew a little more confident. Finally, they stopped at a small park in the middle of the city. Zyra leaned on her knees, breathing lightly, while Eli tried to catch his breath. "You did better than I expected," she said, grinning. "Not fast enough, but you're learning." "I think I understand," Eli said slowly. "You're trying to teach me to think differently, to survive your world." Zyra laughed, a sound like wind through metal. "Exactly. If you can survive my world, you can survive anything. And, human, it will be fun." Fun? Eli had never thought of survival as fun, but something about Zyra's energy made him curious. He wanted to see what life would be like if he could keep up. As the day continued, Zyra showed him more of her world. They climbed towers using magnetic grips, jumped from floating platforms, and navigated crowded streets filled with strange creatures. Everywhere they went, Eli felt exposed and clumsy. People stared. Some laughed, some gasped, and some simply shook their heads at the unusual pairing. Eli felt embarrassed, but he also began to notice something else. Zyra's movements were not just wild, they were precise. Every jump, every flip, every dash had a purpose. She was not careless. She was adapted. She had survived her harsh planet for a reason, and now she was teaching him to survive as well. "See?" she said, landing on a high ledge and pointing to a narrow bridge connecting to towers. "That's your next challenge. Cross it." Eli looked. The bridge was thin, glowing faintly with no safety rail. Below, the city moved like a river of light. His heart raced. He hesitated. "You can do it," Zyra encouraged. "Trust yourself." "Trust me." Eli took a deep breath and stepped forward. The bridge wobbled slightly under his weight, but he forced himself to move steadily. Zyra ran alongside him, guiding him, pointing out places to step, places to grab. When he reached the other side, his legs shook. But a small smile appeared on his face. "I did it," he whispered. "You did?" Zyra said, clapping loudly. And that was only the beginning. After a brief rest, Zyra led him to a quieter area. Here she began teaching him more subtle skills, how to read alien body language, how to sense danger, how to notice details that others overlooked. Eli struggled, but he also began to feel his mind expand. He was learning to see the galaxy not just as a place to live, but as a place full of opportunities and challenges. By evening, Eli was exhausted, but also exhilarated. Zyra had dragged him across the city, trained him in survival, and pushed him beyond every comfort zone he had ever known. And yet, as they watched the twin suns set over the skyline, Eli realized he had never felt more alive. Zyra sat beside him, legs crossed, her tail curling around her. "You're learning, human." slowly but learning. You will survive my world. And maybe, she paused, looking at him with a strange intensity, you will even enjoy it. Eli swallowed, unsure how to respond. Enjoy it. He had spent his whole life seeking normal stability and calm, and now he found himself sitting next to a wild alien woman, heart racing, mind alert, and feeling excited. The next morning brought a new challenge. Zyra had noticed that Eli was still too cautious when interacting with other aliens. She decided it was time for him to face social survival, the unspoken rules, alliances, and rivalries that existed in the city. Come on, she said, grabbing his hand. Time to meet people. You will see how the galaxy really works. They entered a bustling market filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some were tall and thin, others small and round. Some had glowing patterns. Some had extra limbs. Each moved with purpose, bargaining, laughing, or exchanging strange items. Eli felt overwhelmed. He tried to follow Zyra's lead, but she moved with confidence, speaking boldly, laughing, and even teasing the merchants. People reacted to her differently, some with respect, some with curiosity, and some with fear. Eli noticed that her wild nature demanded attention, and people responded to it. See, human? Zyra said. You can hide, you can be quiet, but then you are invisible. You want to be noticed. You want to survive. You want to be alive. Eli nodded slowly. He began to mimic her, trying to walk taller, speak more clearly, and notice the reactions of those around him. It was awkward at first, but gradually, he felt a new kind of confidence building. By the end of the day, Eli realized something important. Zyra's wildness was not just chaos. It was strength, confidence, and adaptability. She had survived in a dangerous world, and now she was teaching him to do the same. And, more surprisingly, he was beginning to enjoy it. That night, back in their home, Eli collapsed on the floor, exhausted. Zyra leaned against him, humming softly, a rare calm in her eyes. You did well today, human, she said. You are learning faster than I expected. Soon, you will be able to survive anything I throw at you. Eli looked at her and smiled, a small, tired smile. I think I am starting to understand you, Zyra. Maybe your world isn't as impossible as I thought. Zyra's eyes glimmered in the low light. And maybe your world isn't as boring as I thought, she said with a playful smirk. Eli laughed quietly. For the first time, he felt a connection not just as a human paired with a wild alien, but as two beings learning from each other. The galaxy was full of challenges, but for the first time, he believed he could face them. And deep down, Eli realized that this wild, unpredictable woman might just be exactly what he needed to grow, to survive, and perhaps even to discover a part of himself he had never known. The galaxy had always seemed calm from Eli's perspective, but that illusion shattered one quiet evening. He was organizing some supplies in their home when Zyra suddenly bolted toward the window, eyes sharp and alert. Human. Trouble is coming, she shouted. Eli froze. Trouble? What do you mean? Watch, Zyra said, leaping onto the balcony. Outside, the sky was filled with small, fast ships, darting like swarms of insects. Their shapes were strange, angular, and clearly not part of the Alliance. Bright beams of light flashed as some of them attacked a nearby trade convoy. Explosions lit the city in flashes of red and blue. Eli's heart raced. He had read reports about rogue factions in the galaxy, but he had never imagined seeing them so close. The peaceful life he had hoped for vanished in an instant. We have to go, Zyra said, grabbing his hand. Her grip was firm, unyielding. You will need every skill you have learned. Trust me, human. This is why you train. Eli nodded, swallowing hard. He felt the nervous weight of responsibility. His instincts screamed to hide, to retreat, but something deep inside reminded him that running was not an option. Not now. Zyra led him through the streets, using rooftops and narrow alleys to avoid detection. Her movements were fluid and precise, and Eli did his best to match her. The lessons from the past days, the speed, the observation, the instinct helped him navigate the dangerous cityscape. They reached an open plaza, where the attackers had cornered a small group of traders. Zyra crouched low, scanning the area. Eli tried to stay calm. His mind raced through possibilities: defense, escape, and rescue. "Human," Zyra whispered. "I need you to follow my lead exactly." "Do not hesitate," Eli nodded. He had learned enough to know hesitation could be deadly. Zyra sprang forward, leaping onto one of the rogue ships as it hovered low. With agility Eli had never seen in a human, she moved along the hull, disabling weapons with quick, precise strikes. Sparks flew, and the ship shook violently. Eli watched, awed and terrified. "Your turn," Zyra called, pointing to a small control panel that had fallen near him. "Do it." Eli hesitated, then stepped forward. His hands shook, but he focused. He remembered Zyra's lessons: observe, think fast, act faster. With careful fingers, he bypassed the security sequence and deactivated the ship's weapon systems. A small cheer escaped him. "Good," Zyra shouted, landing beside him. "See? You are not as slow as you think." Before Eli could respond, another ship descended, larger and more menacing. Its engines glowed red, and its weapons began to charge. Eli's heart pounded. "Cover me!" Zyra shouted, sprinting toward the larger ship. Eli didn't hesitate this time. He picked up a fallen energy rifle from the ground and followed her. His aim was unsteady, but he managed to distract the attackers long enough for Zyra to climb aboard. Together, they disabled the controls, forcing the ship to crash land outside the city. For a moment, the two of them stood in silence, breathing hard, covered in dust and sparks. The traders they had saved stared at them with wide eyes. "You did that?" one trader asked, disbelief in his voice. Eli swallowed. We did what we had to do," he said softly. Zyra grinned, brushing dust off her arms. "We did. And now you understand why I am your companion, human. Your calm mind and my instincts make us a good team." Eli realized she was right. Without Zyra's agility and fearlessness, they would have been trapped. Without his caution and thoughtfulness, mistakes could have cost lives. Together, they were stronger than the sum of their parts. The danger was not over. The rogue ships regrouped, hovering over the city, scanning for survivors. Eli and Zyra retreated to a safer location, using hidden tunnels and maintenance shafts beneath the city. As they moved, Eli felt a strange mixture of fear and exhilaration. He had never imagined life could be this intense. Zyra paused, looking back at him. "You are learning fast, human. But do not forget, speed is not enough. Observation, strategy, and courage. All three are necessary. Can you handle it?" Eli nodded, a surge of determination coursing through him. "I think I can." They emerged near the outskirts of the city, where the rogue faction had set up a temporary base. From a safe distance, Eli observed the ships, the guards, and the layout. He realized that while Zyra excelled in direct action, he could contribute by planning and analyzing. "Look," Eli whispered. "If we create a distraction here—" He pointed to a narrow bridge that led to the base. "We can separate their forces. You take the lead, I provide support from a distance." Zyra's eyes gleamed. "I like it. Clever human. Let's try it." They moved into position. Eli used his skills to hack into a security console, causing alarms and lights to flash, drawing some of the rogue fighters away. Zyra leaped from cover to cover, striking quickly and efficiently. The two of them coordinated instinctively, each complementing the other's strengths. After a tense hour, the rogue faction was defeated. Their remaining ships fled, and the traders were safe. Eli and Zyra stood amidst the wreckage, panting and covered in debris. "You did it," Zyra said, turning to him with a wide smile. "We did it." Eli felt a strange pride. He had survived the chaos, adapted to her world, and contributed. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be paired with someone like Zyra, not just surviving, but thriving together. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the city, Eli realized that danger was no longer a thing to fear. It was a test, a lesson, a chance to grow. With Zyra by his side, he could face anything the galaxy threw at them. That night, back in their home, Eli cleaned his equipment while Zyra lounged nearby, watching him. "You have changed," Zyra said softly. "Yesterday, you would have hesitated. Today, you acted." Eli paused, thinking. "I learned from you," he admitted. "You taught me to trust myself, to think fast and to act." Syrah's tail flicked lightly. "Good. That is only the beginning. There are more dangers, more challenges, and more fun waiting for us." Eli smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. The wild alien woman, once terrifying and incomprehensible, had become a teacher, a partner, and perhaps a friend. And deep down he realized something he could not yet admit out loud. The galaxy was unpredictable, chaotic, and dangerous. But with Zyra, he was not afraid. He was alive. For the first time in his life, Eli understood that pairing with a wild companion was not a curse. It was a gift, a chance to see the universe in ways no normal human could, to grow beyond his limits, and to discover strength he did not know he had. Zyra leaned against him, her eyes reflecting the stars outside. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we train for more than survival. We train for life, and human. You will need all your courage." Things are about to get more exciting. Eli nodded, feeling a thrill of anticipation. He had survived danger, adapted to a wild world, and begun to see his own potential. The journey was far from over, but he knew one thing. With Zyra at his side, he was ready, and as he drifted into sleep, he realized that life with a wild alien woman might just be the adventure he had always needed. The morning light filtered through the windows, casting long stripes across the floor. Eli stretched, feeling the lingering ache from yesterday's battle. Zyra was already moving around the room, her energy boundless as always. She had begun training before dawn, leaping from furniture to walls, practicing her speed and reflexes with a small glowing orb she tossed into the air. "Human," she called. "Wake up. Today is not for rest. Today is for learning patience, observation, and strategy." Eli rubbed his eyes, trying to shake the fatigue. He had survived yesterday's attack and had begun to understand Zyra's wild ways. But even he needed some rest. He frowned. Patience, strategy. "I thought we already did all that yesterday," Zyra laughed, a clear, sharp sound that filled the room. "Yesterday you survived chaos. Today you will learn to see it coming before it happens. That is the difference between reacting and winning." "Okay." Eli sighed, but followed her outside. They moved to a quiet alien forest just outside the city. The trees were tall, their leaves glowing faintly, and strange creatures skittered through the underbrush. Eli felt a sense of awe and fear at the same time. He had never experienced such a place. He knew that Zyra thrived here. "Observe everything," Zyra instructed, crouching low. "Listen, smell, feel the air. Notice the little things. Survival is not always about speed. Sometimes it is about noticing what others miss." Eli nodded and tried to focus. The forest was alive with sounds and movements. Small creatures darted among the glowing plants. The wind shifted, carrying faint scents. Shadows moved unpredictably. He concentrated, trying to take it all in. After a few minutes, Zyra pointed to a narrow path. "Follow me quietly," she whispered. "A test is waiting." Hush. Eli followed as silently as he could. Zyra moved with ease, her every step deliberate, every glance alert. He realized that her wildness was not chaos, it was control. Honed over years of surviving in a harsh world, they reached a small clearing. In the center, a glowing creature was trapped under some fallen branches. It struggled, making soft, frightened noises. Eli instinctively wanted to rush forward to help, but Zyra held up a hand. "Stop. Watch first," she said. "Rushing in can make things worse." Eli watched as Zyra studied the creature carefully. She assessed the branches, the creature's movements, and the surrounding environment. Then, with precise actions, she lifted the branches, freeing the creature without harming it. The creature ran off, disappearing into the forest. See, Zira said, patience, observation, and strategy. You can save more lives by thinking first than by rushing blindly. Eli nodded slowly, understanding the lesson. I see now. Your wildness isn't just energy. It's experience, instincts, and careful calculation. Zira smiled. Exactly human. And now, it is your turn. Show me what you have learned. Eli took a deep breath and scanned the clearing. He noticed a small creature hiding nearby, trapped under some vines. He approached carefully, studying the vines and the creature's movements. Slowly, deliberately, he freed it without causing harm. Zira watched silently, nodding approvingly. Good, she said. You are learning. Slowly, but steadily. That is all I ask. They spent the rest of the day practicing observation, strategy, and patience. Eli found that he was improving. He noticed small details he had missed before, anticipated movements, and began to trust his instincts. Zira continued to teach, challenging him with new tasks and tests. As evening approached, they returned to the city. Eli felt a mixture of exhaustion and satisfaction. He was tired, but he also felt a growing sense of confidence. He had survived chaos, adapted to Zira's wild world, and begun to understand her perspective. That night, as they rested in their home, Zira grew quiet. She looked at Eli with a rare softness in her eyes. Human, she said, I know you still wonder why you were paired with me. Everyone else has normal mates. Calm, predictable companions. And you. You got me? Eli looked at her, unsure how to respond. I still don't understand it myself, he admitted. I thought I wanted normal. I thought I wanted peace. Zira tilted her head, her glowing eyes reflecting the light. Normal is safe. Peace is quiet, but you are human. Humans are not meant for quiet. Humans are meant to adapt, to survive, to grow stronger in the face of challenges. That is why we are paired. You need me as much as I need you. Eli felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had always been logical, cautious, and careful. But Zira's words resonated deeply. Perhaps this pairing was not a mistake. Perhaps it was a chance to discover strength he had never known. The next day, they faced another challenge, this time within the city itself. A new threat had emerged, a group of rogue aliens attempting to disrupt the market district. The city guards were overwhelmed, and civilians were in danger. Eli and Zira did not hesitate. They moved quickly through the streets, using their combined skills. Zira's speed and agility allowed her to reach the rogue aliens first, while Eli coordinated the evacuation of civilians, using his observations to guide them safely. Human Zira shouted as she disabled a weapon. You are learning faster than I expected. Eli felt a surge of pride. He was no longer just following her lead, he was thinking, acting, and contributing. Together, they worked seamlessly, their differences complementing each other. After the threat was neutralized, the city's citizens cheered. For the first time, Eli realized that their unusual pairing was not just tolerated, it was admired. People saw the strength in their teamwork, the balance between human logic and alien instinct. That evening, as they returned home, Eli felt a deep sense of connection with Zira. He no longer feared her wildness. He embraced it. He began to see that life with her was not chaotic, it was vibrant, exciting, and full of opportunities to grow. Zira noticed his change. She smiled, a genuine soft smile that Eli had never seen before. You are different now, human. You are not just surviving, you are thriving, Eli nodded. And it's because of you, Zira. You've shown me a world I never knew existed. A world I didn't think I could live in. But now I can. Zira's eyes glimmered. And I've seen something in you too. Calm, clever, patient. You balance my wildness. Together, we are stronger than either of us alone. Eli felt a rush of emotion. He had never imagined that a wild alien companion could teach him so much, not just about survival, but about himself. He realized that normal was not what he needed. What he needed was growth, challenge, and partnership. As they settled for the night, Eli watched Zira move with quiet grace, even in rest. He understood that she was more than wild energy. She was strength, courage, and wisdom in motion. And he was beginning to see that he was more than he had ever thought possible. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous. But with Zira at his side, Eli felt ready for anything. He had faced chaos, learned from it, and grown stronger. And deep down, he knew that this journey was only just beginning. Zira leaned close, her eyes reflecting the faint light of the stars outside. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we will train for more than survival. We will train for life, and for the challenges the galaxy has in store. Are you ready, human?" Eli smiled, feeling a thrill of anticipation. "Yes, Zira, I am ready." For the first time, he truly believed it. With Zira, the wild, untamed alien, he had discovered a new world and a new version of himself. And no matter what challenges awaited, he knew that together they could face anything. The city's skyline glowed under twin moons as Eli and Zira returned from their latest mission. Word of their bravery had already spread. Traders, citizens, and even officials had watched news feeds of their teamwork defeating the rogue factions. Where once people had whispered doubts about their pairing, now they whispered admiration. Eli walked beside Zira, still feeling the rush of adrenaline, though his muscles ached from the day's work. Zira bounced lightly beside him, humming, her green eyes shining with mischief and pride. "Human," she said, nudging him playfully. "Look at all the faces. They respect us now." Eli looked around. The market district was alive, but this time with cheers rather than chaos. Aliens and humans alike paused to wave or smile at them. Some children ran up, pointing, their eyes wide in excitement. Eli felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the first time, he understood the impact of their partnership. Not just survival, but inspiration. "It feels different," he said softly. "People aren't laughing at us. They're cheering." Zira grinned. "Yes, human. You are no longer invisible. We are seen. And you, my clever human, have learned to be a part of this world. Not just surviving it, but shaping it." Their first stop was the city council headquarters. The mayor, a tall alien with silver scales, greeted them personally, Eli Carter. "Zira of the Stormborn sector," the mayor said, his voice formal but warm. "Your actions have saved countless lives. Your teamwork has shown what humans and aliens can achieve together. Today, we honor you both." Kuna felt his cheeks heat. He was not used to attention, and Zira noticed immediately. "You deserve it," she whispered. "And don't worry, I won't let them eat you alive with speeches." The mayor handed them a small medal, a symbol of courage and partnership. Eli accepted it awkwardly, while Zira twirled it between her fingers, grinning. The crowd cheered loudly, and Eli realized that his unusual mate, the wild, untamed alien, had not only saved lives, but also changed the way the city saw humans. After the ceremony, they walked through the streets. Citizens approached them, offering thanks, asking questions, or just waving. Eli felt proud, but more importantly, he felt connected. Zira's wildness had once embarrassed him, but now he saw its value. It commanded attention, inspired courage, and created bonds across species. "See, human?" Zira said, her voice soft and proud. "Normal mates may be calm, predictable, and polite, but they do not create change, do. Together, we are more than ordinary." Eli nodded slowly. He finally understood. It was not about being normal. It was about strength, adaptability, and trust. And he had all of that now, thanks to Zira. That evening, they returned to their home. Eli sat quietly, thinking about the journey. In just a few days, he had gone from nervous expectation to exhilarated survival, from hesitation to confidence, from confusion to admiration for his wild companion. Zira watched him, her tail curling lazily. "You are thinking too much, human," she said teasingly. "Sometimes you just need to feel." I am feeling, Eli said softly. I feel proud, alive, stronger than I ever thought I could be. Zira's eyes softened. She stepped closer and placed a hand on his shoulder. And I feel something too. You balance me, human. My instincts, my wildness, need your calm, your patience, your careful mind. Together, we are complete. Eli looked into her glowing eyes and realized that he had never been so certain of anything. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous, but with Zira by his side. He felt invincible not because of weapons or speed, but because they trusted each other completely. The following days were a mixture of training, exploration, and city life. Eli began to embrace Zira's world as his own. He learned to climb walls, to move silently, to anticipate danger, and even to take risks with a smile rather than fear. Zira, in turn, learned patience from him, discovering the value of planning and thoughtfulness. They complemented each other perfectly. One evening, after a long day of practice, they sat on a rooftop overlooking the city. The stars glittered above them, and a gentle breeze carried the scents of the alien market below. Do you ever regret it? Eli asked quietly. Being paired with me? Zira laughed softly. Regret? No, I've never met a human like you. You are clever, brave, and surprising. You are not normal, and I would not have it any other way. Eli smiled. I thought I wanted normal. Calm, quiet, easy. But now I see that normal would have been boring. I would have missed this. Zira leaned against him, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. And I would have missed you, human. Together we make life. Exciting. Dangerous, yes, but alive. Eli felt a warmth spread through him. He realized that he had not only survived the galaxy's dangers, but had also discovered something deeper. Trust, partnership, and perhaps even love. Their bond grew stronger with every passing day. They faced minor threats, helped citizens, and navigated political challenges within the city. But more than that, they learned to communicate without words, to anticipate each other's needs, and to act as one. The wild alien woman and the cautious human had become inseparable partners in every sense. One day, as they trained in the open forest outside the city, Eli noticed something he had not seen before. Zira paused mid-leap, listening intently to the sounds around them. She spotted a small creature trapped in a tangle of vines. Without hesitation, she sprinted forward, but this time Eli moved beside her, instinctively knowing what to do. Together, they freed the creature efficiently, their actions perfectly synchronized. Eli laughed, breathless. We make a good team. Zira smiled, her eyes bright. The best team, human. Not because of me alone, not because of you alone, but because of us together. That evening, as they rested on their balcony overlooking the city, Eli reflected on everything that had happened. He had started with fear, hesitation, and the longing for a normal life. Now he had excitement, trust, and the thrill of discovery. The galaxy was unpredictable, but he was ready. Zira noticed his thoughtful expression. What are you thinking, human? About us, Eli said. About how far we've come. About how normal doesn't matter anymore. What matters is this us together. Stronger than anyone expected, Zira's smile softened, and you are learning to embrace it. That makes me happy. She paused, then added playfully. Even if you are still slow sometimes, Eli laughed. I will get faster. I promise. The days turned into weeks, and Eli and Zira became known throughout the city. People admired their courage, respected their skills, and often asked about their unusual bond. They inspired others to see beyond normality, to embrace differences, and to discover strength in unexpected places. And through it all, Eli realized a simple truth. Life with Zira was never predictable, never calm, and never ordinary, but it was alive. Every moment was a challenge, an adventure, and an opportunity to grow. And for the first time, he understood that this was exactly what he had been missing in his quiet, normal life. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the city, Eli looked at Zira and smiled. Thank you, he said softly. For what? She asked, tilting her head. For showing me the galaxy, for teaching me to survive, for everything. I didn't want normal. Not anymore. I want this. I want you. Zyra's eyes glimmered, reflecting the moonlight. She stepped closer, her hand resting gently on his chest. And I want you to, human. Not calm, not normal, but you. Together, we are unstoppable. Eli felt a rush of emotion he could not name: joy, pride, trust, and something deeper. He realized that he had not just survived pairing with a wild alien woman. He had thrived. He had grown, learned, and discovered the power of partnership in its purest form. And as they stood together on the balcony, watching the galaxy stretch endlessly before them, Eli knew one final truth. He had been paired with Zyra, not by mistake, but by destiny. In her wildness, he found strength. In his calm, she found balance. Together, they had become more than either could be alone. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges. But with Zyra by his side, Eli felt ready for anything. He no longer wished for normal. He wished only for the adventures yet to come and for the wild, extraordinary companion who had changed his life forever.